Hey everybody, it's Doug here, Doug Mr. Guy, Board Game Geek. I'm bringing you a special episode. This one's going to be the first in a series of my top 50 cooperative and soloable playable games. And we're going to start today with our 40 through 50 and just count our way backwards. And I'm going to give you some rules. There's some rules that I gave myself when I was considering this list. The first of them is that it has to be co-op, and at least playable as co-op, and also playable as a decent solo game. I deselected ones that had a trader mechanic, an automatic trader mechanic, like Battlestar Galactica, because that one would have been in my top something if that was the case, because I love Battlestar Galactica. I also deselected ones that had one versus many mechanic. Even if, in some cases, it had a cooperative mechanic as well, I still took that out. But we're going to get into this discussion because I want to talk about these. Now, when I say soloable, I mean, it could be a co-op game that's not particularly good at playing solo. It may still have made my list, but I'm going to talk about that if it did and what the advantages and disadvantages are. So anyway, let's get right to it. Those are my rules. It's pretty straightforward. Anyway, I'm going to ask you, I've already had some people do this, I'd like you to guess what my top 10 is. See how close you can get. I bet you some of you can get pretty close because you know the types of games that I like to put on the table. You know that they're always some kind of thematic games. So you got probably some pretty good ideas. But we're going to start now with number 50. Now, number 50 is a fairly recent addition to my... oh, by the way, I'm building a shelf back here, so it's not complete, but it's going to be high games. Games everywhere. My wife wants me to build more space. Anyway, my top 50. My number 50 game is going to be Slaughterville. And now I'm going to tell you why, because somebody go, really, Doug? That's kind of an odd choice for your top 50, but it's not really not. What I like about Slaughterville is, one, it's completely cooperative. Two, it plays a number of people. I think you can play 5 or 6, if I'm not mistaken, and I'll post that. I'll have it here somewhere where you can see what I'm talking about. But it's very good soloable. Now, it's really random, so you got to go into it thinking, I could lose in the first turn, or I could have some fun with it and go on for a long time, and whatever chaos, whatever randomness happens, that's what's going to happen. So, Slaughterville. You're playing a character in the town of Slaughterville who's trying to stop a madman. There's a ton of replayability in this because you have multiple locations, and as I talk, I'm going to be putting images up as well. But you got multiple locations that you can go to: a church, a house, a neighborhood, in the town of Slaughterville, and you are trying to put an end to some evil. That evil could be a straightforward just serial killer, could be a demon. It could be any number of things, supernatural or otherwise. One of the coolest ones, I think, is the cannibal redneck family, which is pretty neat. That's a good one to go against. And you're playing pretty ordinary people like a college student, a goth chick, stuff like that. Anyway, it's really fun. And if you go into it with the lighthearted thought that, yeah, we could die, it could end really badly for us, or we could get killed by this stalker or whatever. And everybody around it, the game has a lighthearted atmosphere of it. You really enjoy it. One of the reasons in my top 50, and this is the main reason, is it's accessible. I've played it with people who do not play games, and they like it. And that means a lot to me because I got a lot of people in my life that don't play board games, and I want them to experience something once in a while because I'm the guy that brings stupid games to the table and gets to replay them, and that's awesome. But that's my number 50. And I'm not going to go into as much depth on these top ones as I will my top 20 or so. But I'm going to take a glance at my screen because I got it up here. So number 49 actually would be higher. I got the expansion for it that made it an even better game, and it is a good game, but it's kind of fallen in ranks just because I don't see it getting to the table very often. I actually have a hard time getting people to always want to play it, which is fine, but it's still in my top 50, and that is Agents of Smersh. And Agents of Smersh is a storytelling game similar to Tales of the Arabian Nights or something like that, where you got a big giant book of stories that tell as you move around. In this case, you're globe-trotting, trying to solve the solve and capture Dr. Lobo, who's the ultimate evil, like in a James Bond series, and you're playing a spy. Each person has a spy, and you have a certain set of skills that complement each other as you go around the board and solve mysteries. And there's this big, massive book. And what I do like about this one over some others like it, for example, I'll think about it as we go, but the book is well written, and the stories in it are funny. Some of them are funny, some of them are interesting, some of them don't make any sense, but it's still a lot of fun. Oh, I remember the one I was thinking of that has this element in it that's not as well written is Seafall. Now, the Seafall stuff is, the writing is fine, it's just not as interesting or as thrilling as the stuff in Agents of Smersh. Anyway, 49, Agents of Smersh, really good game. Kind of light on mechanics, one of the reasons it's 49. Also very accessible to people that don't play games all the time. Not a horribly long game, but it is fun. The expansion adds some stuff to it with Australia and some other elements. Pretty cool. I really do like it. Agents of Smersh, 49. Now, number 48. Yeah, number 48 I actually traded away for one of my top 10. And that's going to give you a hint. That is Galaxy Defenders. Now, I like Galaxy Defenders. It was fun. I burned out on it quickly, which is why it's really at the top of my list. So I played it quite a bit at first when it first came out. I even had it on my channel. I did some things there. It was pretty neat. So that Galaxy Defender, you're playing a science fiction hero, which is probably the thing. I'm not as so hyped on the science fiction theme as I am on a fantasy or gothic or horror theme. But it's a miniature-based tactical game where you're going against aliens. The aliens are controlled by an AI. It's completely cooperative, very easy to solo, and a lot of fun. And each character has their own strengths and weaknesses. There's a lot of tactical decisions to make. I do enjoy that. It is not a gateway game. It's not for people who don't play games very often. You kind of got to be a gamer for this one. But the expansions add a lot to it, and I had the Kickstarter stuff, and I traded it away for something else, and that tells you something about where I'm at with Galaxy Defenders. I love it, great game, and Ares Games, great stuff. Conan's, I mean, well, some of the other ones they've done are awesome too. Anyway, that's going to be 48. Yeah, 48 Galaxy Defenders, and the miniatures are cool. I'm putting pictures up as we go. The alien powers are neat. I like the way that the alien AI deck works, pretty neat. Anyway, that's 48. 47. Now this one would have been higher if it didn't expand. And that's going to be, I'll tell you why I say that. And so 48 is going to be, no, 47 rather, is going to be 12 Realms. 12 Realms is a great family game. It features people like us, animal version of Robin Hood, and you got these heroes and they're running around. There's no killing in the game at all. When you defeat something, it just goes away. You're charming it, you're dueling it and beating it, but it's very specific. You're not killing things, slaying them off the board. And it makes it really family friendly and fun. My kids love it, and you move around this beautiful board with these cool miniatures, and I have the painted miniatures and everything. Played it with Ancestors Legacy expansion, and for some reason, and I got the next Kickstarter coming too, and now I'm wondering if that was a mistake. The Ancestors Legacy thing did not expand the game in a good way for me. It made it too much. I think the base game was fine the way it was, and you go back through my videos. It's there. I'm not going to link everything, but you can go find it on my channel. So 47, 12 realms, and basically what you're doing is you have these 4 boards, and you have your hero, and you're kind of the hero of this board. It's one of the realms, one of the 12 realms. And in there, you're defeating some crazy creatures off this, and there's different bosses and different themes to the boards. One's an Asian theme, the other one's a pirate theme board, and you could be the hero of that one and have the skills you need to really take that. But you're going to have to go help the other people on their boards too and move around, because otherwise someone could get overwhelmed depending on the draw of the cards, and things can get overrun. Again, completely cooperative, so we all help each other. It's great stuff. And very easy to solo, really easy to solo. And the reason, again, it would have been higher on my list if it didn't expand, and that's interesting. I thought that it would expand well, and it didn't. I can't wait to see what Bedtime Stories does for it. I hope that Bedtime Stories kind of rekindles that for me, because Ancestors Legacy by itself is interesting, but it just really took away from the game for me, a game I liked. I thought it was a good game. And so that is 12 Realms without Ancestors Legacy. with Ancestors Legacy, it definitely dropped to 47. It probably would have been higher otherwise. So 12 Realms is number 47. Now, number 46. And this should be higher on my list too. It's one of those ones where you'd think it'd be higher, should be higher. Reason it's not, and I'll tell you why, it's just after playing it a bunch of times, no one will play it. Nobody that I play it with will play it, and my kids are kind of on it, and some of my friends, like if I mention it, they're just it's Xenoshift Onslaught. And when I first got it, I loved it. I loved the mechanics. I loved the way the board worked, and we played it a bunch, but it just never quite stayed. The staying power wasn't there, and that's why it's this high on my list. Now, it is a good game. Again, I wouldn't know. It could be a gateway game for people. It could be a game for people that are just learning how to play board games or just starting. Maybe. I vacillate on that one a little bit because I'm not sure, but it's good. And now in that one, you're playing a faction. Could be the armory or the medic group or the military, the army itself, not the armory, but the army. And you have different cards. It's a deck builder that you're playing cards out to create a defense against these aliens. And then the aliens come in and they batter through your defenses one at a time. And if you survive that round and your base doesn't get damaged, you go on the next round. And you have so many rounds of that, and the creatures get tougher, the aliens send tougher aliens after you. You get to deck build and upgrade your gear and weapons and troops, and that makes it cool. Again, science fiction theme, so not as hot on my list. OK Solo, which is another reason it's higher on my list. OK Solo, really good co-op game. Solo, I also have the app for it. I don't really like the app, and that kind of maybe making me think a little bit more about the aspects of the game that I don't enjoy as a solo game. But as a cooperative game, it's really good. And if you like deck builders, it's definitely one I can think of deck builders that will appear in this series that are better for me and better as a solo and a co-op type game. Okay, that is Xenoshift Onslaught, and that is again number 46. Okay, 45. 45, you're going to go, wow, you pulled that one out of the archives. But I haven't played it in a while, and I have played it on my channel. And I know Paul Darcy's played it on his. I'm trying to think of somebody else. Anyway, and it was expanded at one time with just one expansion, and it's really good. It's from Flying Frog Productions, Conquest of Planet Earth. Both very accessible as a solo game and a co-op game and a competitive game. And it's fun. And what I really like about this game is it puts a spin on things. It is, again, another science fiction game, but the spin it puts on it is you're no longer playing the good guys, the humans. You're playing the crazy alien, like campy 1960s invaders with the tentacles and bad makeup jobs and everything, and you're attacking the Earth and trying to create terror in the different cities. Just destroying things in your path, and you got these saucer ships that come down that originally thought the miniatures looked kind of like palm trees, but they're actually flying saucers with the power cone coming out beneath it. And each person has these, and you have to manage how many resources because you only got so many ships that you can tool around, and each one gives you strengths and everything. Meanwhile, the humans are building up their defenses and building up their power against you as you're attacking them. And if they get to a certain point in the game, they win, you lose. And if they build their super weapon, they get to blast you out into the solar system or whatever, and you lose the game. Really fun game. The reason it's higher on my list is it's older, and there are some games that are just simply mechanically and everything better. But it is a fun game. I will pull it out in times of a lighthearted moment and get it played. It's really good. That's number 45, Conquest of Planet Earth. Okay, number 44. Now I played this one just recently, and it is in my top 50. And I'm going to tell you why it's in my top 50 as opposed to my top 20 or top 30. Because it's a really solid game, really good mechanics. Wizards Academy. I played it on my game, and somebody said, "I can tell you're getting frustrated with it." I was. There's a lot going on in the game, and the reason it's this high on my list is why I think it's a fantastic cooperative game. I didn't like it as much playing solo. There's too many different variables, too many things to think about. The interaction in the game makes it hard to play solo. It also makes it hard for new gamers. This is definitely a game for pretty much veteran games. I think I could get a new person to play it. I'm pretty good at explaining rules when I get the rules right. But overall, it's a really good game, solid. I love the way the whole spell board works out, and there's a memory aspect to the spell board, and you know the way you have to remember the things that are coming up, so you can work them in your spell book, and in the way the board interacts and the different scenarios. It's a really good game, just not as good as a solo game, much more as a cooperative game. So that is Wizards Academy. Again, I posted some pictures. I also like the character models in it, and the characters themselves. They're really interesting and different. Makes them unique. Could be more backstory, could be more story to the game itself, but overall it does have a good story to it. You're defending a Wizards Academy against the onslaught of creatures and things and different things that can happen. So pretty cool stuff. That is number 44, Wizards Academy. Now, number 43 will probably be higher on my list because it's getting a lot of play. And and I just played it on my channel, but it's really light, and so it's not just, it's mainly a competitive game, but there is an alliance version that I played once and it was really good, so I kind of liked it. That is Masmorra, Dungeons of Arcadia. I just played it on my channel, so it's probably going to go up in rank as I play it as an alliance game, because I think the alliance game might be one of the best versions of it. I'm not sure. The competitive game is just straightforward. You got to get so much experience and you win. But in it, you're playing these cool chibi type characters that are running around the dungeon with special abilities and fighting monsters. The monsters are dice, so you roll a die and that tells you which monster it is, and that's kind of, I like that mechanic actually. Also, you have your dice rolls, which allow you to do the skill allocation, and allows you to, when you roll your dice, it starts to determine your turn. In the competitive version, you just have to get the 16 experience, and then you do one more full round, and the winner is the winner. In the Alliance game, you're playing with a different set of cards. You have these evil cards that come out every turn, which makes it more interesting. And at the end, you have a big boss fight, which is always fun. Everybody loves the big boss fight, right? So, and the boss tokens are big discs. They're pretty neat. So that's Masmorra, and like I said, I just played it. In fact, I'll show you something if I can get them out. Here, let me see. I'm going to pull these out here. I just painted a bunch more of the Kickstarter. Let me see if I can get, there you go. The Kickstarter miniatures, you can see they're not all finished painting there, but I do have a bunch of them. This is the monk from that. You can see what kind of characters they are. Here is like a bard guy. He's pretty cool. Anyway, I had a kind of a painting spree this past weekend. So I just didn't feel like doing much, so I painted the heck out of some stuff. It was a lot of fun. Okay, that is Masmorra. That is number 43. Okay, number 42 is going to be a departure too, because it wasn't originally, and this is one of the reasons it's high on the list, wasn't originally intended to be a cooperative game. It has a semi-co-op, and I did not include semi-co-ops in my top 50. It has a semi-co-op version of the game, and that is Archipelago. Now, Archipelago is a tile-laying, resource management, worker placement game that you have. Like I said, it also has a semi-cooperative piece to it, but it's also competitive, and people can really screw each other if they don't manage the semi-co-op portion right. There is a deck that came out that made it a really good co-op game and solo game. So it is on my list, and it's not intended to be that way. That's why it's high. It's way up in the 50s, or 40s rather. But it's really good. So Archipelago, you're sailing around this archipelago, landing, putting people into workplaces, building locations for yourself that you manage and control. You can lose those locations. There's taxation. There's people that the native folks can rise against you and rebel and do crazy stuff to you and cause problems. Makes it really, really fun. I really like the game. Again, but the reason it's this high on the list is it wasn't intended to be solo or cooperative. It just came later. But that's fine because it works, and that's what makes it really enjoyable. That is Archipelago, and that is number 42. Okay, 41. 41 is another one that I think is going to get higher on my list. I did a short playthrough for it and decided I was going to wait. And I played it a couple more times and decided I was going to wait till the Kickstarter, the rest of the Kickstarter, Wave 2 got to me. I do believe it's going to end up in my top 20 or 30 when I get it to the table and play it more, when I get the Kickstarter stuff. That is Fire Team Zero. Now, if you know me, you know this game's right up my alley. It's got a highly strategic element to it, while at the same time it's kind of a dungeon crawler set in World War II with a gothic, not gothic, almost Cthulhu-esque type theme, which I love, and World War II, which is cool, and World War II and Cthulhu, which is even cooler, type storyline. Now, it's not Cthulhu, but it feels that way. And it's tactical, so you have a storyline where you're doing a mission on a series of boards. You have little miniatures that have special abilities. The card mechanics, I'm not going to get into them in this video. Card mechanics are very unique. How you play the cards is unique. Okay, you know what? I hate Siri, and I got to turn off the automatic thing. So give me just a moment. I'll be right back. Okay. So I think Siri's stalking me because she turns on automatically and just answers things. And I thought I've turned this off on my new phone several times. I got the iPhone 7. It was a free upgrade. And I don't like it. I don't like Siri on that. She's annoying and intrusive, which bothers me. So anyway, but getting on. We were talking about Fireteam Zero, which is my number 41. Again, Fireteam Zero, miniatures are awesome. The monster miniatures are awesome. The card mechanic, each card has a dual mechanic to it. Each hero has their own set of cards, which make them very unique in their powers and abilities. There's these NPCs that follow you around that do very specific things that you got to tool around with you to make them effective, which is also really cool. I like that one a lot. I like that mechanic a lot. And I love games that have dual purpose cards or multiple purpose cards that can allow you different choices. And Fireteam Zero does that. Also, it's got this really cool CD, and I think you can download it too. The stories are done in these mission briefings, and they're recorded, and they're well done. So you listen to your mission briefing. I mean, it really feels. Go watch my videos on it if you want the episode I did. And I don't know how well I played it. It was my first time I did a learning session on screen, and I really liked it. It was fun. It was challenging. I got my tail whooped, but it was good. Fireteam Zero. Wave 2 Kickstarter is about to come, and that's why I'm thinking that it's going to be something that will get back to my table and maybe raise in rank. Okay, now we're going to go on to the last one in this segment. And let me see, how long have we been going? We've been going a little while, not too bad. It is Infection, Humanity's Last Stand. Now this would be higher on my list too, because this is a cool game, except it is, and it's designed this way, which is fine. It is completely solo. There is no co-op version of it. It almost didn't make my list as a result, but I do like it a lot, and there's a good app for it too, and the app plays interestingly, even though I do think I like the tabletop. I don't know, they're the same game, but it feels better on the tabletop. And in this, there's this puzzle element where you're trying to put together elements to create a vaccine and continue to beat this virus down, and the virus gets stronger as you go, and you have issues with your co-workers, and sometimes they don't like each other in these events, and they'll quit or why. It's all kinds of crazy stuff. Anyway, really cool, and so if you like it, it's got a really simple. It's from Victory Point Games, which is, I love Victory Point Games. They have some of my favorite games. Hint hint, but it's definitely in my top 50. Infection. Again, reason it's this low, reason it's 40 is because it's got no cooperative aspect to it. It's purely solo. All right, well, guys, and again, the components, the puzzle elements, really neat in that game. So take a look at these, because I think if you are a fan of the games I play, these are again the top 50, but they're still really viable games, really fun to play. I enjoy them, and again, now we've gotten through 40 to 50. The next one we're going to tackle 39 to 30, and we're going to keep going. Now, as I get down to the top 20, I'm going to get a lot more detailed in my discussion of these games. The top ones, I'm figuring, well, you can go check them out yourself. And also, if you like the games, kind of games I like, these ones are in the top. Believe me, there's more than 100 I had on my list of games that can be played in this. For example, Escape Zombie City is on my list. It did not make my top 100 or top 50 rather. Albion's Legacy almost made my top 50, didn't quite make it. Transylvania Curses and Traitors, because it's really not cooperative, but it kind of feels that way to me. It did not make my list, for example. So there are games that I enjoy playing that did not make my top 50. There's a bunch. But these are the ones that I really enjoy. Again, with the rules, just so as you're watching forward, I'm not going to continue to harp on the rules I set for myself, but it must be cooperative, must be able to play solo in a reasonable way. Cannot have an automatic traitor mechanic, cannot be a one versus many game at its core. And again, like Archipelago made it because it had a unique expansion that allowed it to be cooperative. Anyway, that is 40 through 50. So thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I really appreciate it, guys. This is one of my opportunities to get to tell you face to face that I cannot tell you how much I appreciate the community and your support. I've gotten really positive support. I've made some people I consider my YouTube friends that I really enjoy interacting with, which is a lot of fun. And I hope to do more of that in the coming year. This is probably one of the first on-screen ones I've done for a while. I haven't been on in this side of the camera for quite some time. I don't mind it. I give talks all the time in my work and things like that. I'm forced to be public in that too. Not my favorite thing to do, but it's okay. Anyway, guys, thanks so much again. I appreciate it. I look forward to the next set of videos on this. The top of the 39 through 30 is going to be next. Tell me what you think of my top 50 so far. Which ones you think you're probably going to go, Doug, I would have ranked that higher, or would have ranked that lower. I want to hear about that. Tell me all about it. I can't be wrong because these are just my opinions and what I like. But we can both explore that and talk about it, which is fine. I would love to do that with you. So post away. Let's get crazy and talk about these cool games and these co-op games. And you're probably going to start saying, well, what about that game, Doug? What about this game? And maybe they'll be earlier or later, or maybe they won't make it at all. Anyway, guys, right now, as you know, I'm also playing Black Orchestra, which is currently on my table. I'm looking at it right here because my table is right over there. And I'm playing that. That's a good co-op game. I like it. Yeah, I like it. And as you know, I've done Season 1. I'm going to call it Season 1 of Kingdom Death Monster. I'm going to go on to Season 2 pretty soon. But I want to take a break. That's a heavy game. There's so much to keep track of. It's kind of hard to get your head around sometimes. But it's really a good game. I'm not going to spoil anything there either. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks again for the subscriptions. Thanks again for all the feedback and comments. I do appreciate it. I will talk to you soon. And get ready for my next one. Episode 2 of this will be 39 through 30. Talk to you later.